I call upon Siddharth Raghavan, lot number 5 from Guru Nanak College, Velacheri, Chennai.
Good morning, namaste, salam. 20 years back, there was only one brigade of the Indian Army. 3 units, 2,500 soldiers protecting 300 kilometers of the line of control. Just to put things in perspective today, there are 600,000 soldiers alone in Kashmir who are protecting our Kashmiri region of the line of control. Which means that 20 years back, our Jawans had all the odds stacked against them. And they had every threat and danger to life in the book against them. After the Pakistani intrusion, our Jawans, they thought they were a bunch of militants who had taken over their camps. But when they got to ground zero, they realized that the reality was completely different. And they were outnumbered and outranked in any way. But their valor, their courage, their pride for fighting for the 3 colors of our flag, that never left them. And that was alive in them even when their souls left their body. That was such for the man, Major Rajesh Singh Adhikari, who was on attachment with the 18 Grenadiers. His commanding officer was Kushal Thakur. He lost 25 soldiers, but he still remembers this one 28-year-old Major Adhikari who had a letter, unopened letter from his wife in his left breast pocket. He said that after the capture of Tooling, after that operation got over, that's when he would open that letter. Do you know that man went back home to his family as just a body in July of 1999. That letter still in that left breast pocket, unopened. Now, I'm not here to talk about the war or the military technicalities of it, no. I am going to talk about something we take for granted every day. Something regardless of whether you're poor, rich, educated or uneducated, doesn't matter. Paper. You must be thinking, what a buffoon like me is coming and talking about paper here. To answer that question, I had to put myself through the emotional trauma of someone who had lost a loved one at Kargil. That emotional trauma, I had to replicate it in my head. And when I did, I realized the answer boiled down to paper. And when I mean paper, I don't mean a sheet of paper. I mean the 527 letters written by the 527 martyrs of Kargil, 1 million words. Each letter represents a value we must imbibe within ourselves. Each letter is the last permanent words of these soldiers. You know, ever since the technological age, we've stopped reading letters, we've stopped writing letters. But these letters, I will make my children read them because they teach you something. Captain Saurabh Kalia, who was on a reconnaissance patrol, he was the first martyr of the Kargil War. He wrote a letter to his parents. He's from Palampur. He was delved into his life back home in Palampur. He only talked about his family, his neighbors, his friends, checking upon everyone, seeing how they're doing. And he said, his last words, I'll try and call you if possible. The only mistake that man ever made was instill that false sense of hope in his parents. Another man was Major Ritesh Sharma. His letters to his family helped us understand the war better and helped us understand the sacrifice the men were going through. He got artillery shelling in his right heel, and he said he thanked God that nothing happened to the bone, and he is so lucky for this injury. He is the only man that I have never met who embraces death and says, it's okay to die for something bigger than yourself. Last but not least, Captain Vijayan Thapar. I'm in front of his parents today and I feel so privileged talking about him. He wrote a letter to his parents that I will compulsorily make my children read. In that letter, he said, by the time you get this letter, I will be watching you from the skies above. He had already accepted what happened to him. It takes a good soldier to say that they'll sacrifice their life for their country. But it takes a Captain Vijayan Thapar to say that if he was born in the next life, he would serve in the armed forces again and he would go through that same sacrifice if we got another chance. He wouldn't waste it on anything else. And so hence, we have to say to ourselves, will we say that to ourselves one day? And will we say that to other people? That we will give our lives for our nation and not even question it? Thank you.